Here we go. Perfect. Okay, welcome everyone. This is the June vacation mode vibes only Builder Town Hall, and we are so glad you are here. You might notice I am not the only smiling face opening today's session because we're opening with a full panel today because we want to use all of our time to answer your burning questions. So today's topic is about future proofing your sales, your marketing for the market we're in now, as well as the markets we're going to be shifting into. The way that I look at our markets these days, I call them micro markets because they change so quickly. They upshift and downshift and side shift and swirl shift. And then we've got to adjust again. There's no longer, I don't even know that they're quarterly anymore. They just move really fast and we have to move really fast. So our experts today are going to help you do that, but they can only do that if you ask them questions through the chat. Now, just to get you to engage in this process and get you excited about this, the three most thoughtful, interesting, head scratcher, good questions today will earn prizes. Our first place is going to do, we're going to have a $50 Amazon gift card and then two 25s for second and third. Our guest panelists will be our judges. So please, as we ask questions, pay attention. I'll be jotting down a few names. We can do a little chat or something and we'll figure it out at the end and we'll get those out to you all. So I do need to remind you that we do not do July Builder Town Hall. Meredith gets the month off, as well as Angela and Kerry, and we just take July off to enjoy the first Friday falls too close to July 4th every single year, and attendance isn't great, and we just need the month off. So we're going to do that. We'll be back the first Friday of August. I'm excited. I've got a gentleman who's worked at all the big tech companies and now works for a builder tech company who's going to talk to us about what if Apple built new homes and what would that be like from that perspective. So that's going to be kind of interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so feel free anytime, attendees, to get those questions in chat. I've got a few of my own. I know Angela, Kerry, you all have some of yours as well. Amy, I'm going to start out with you.
Hey, let's introduce everybody. Or did I miss it? So you know where they're
no,
from?
You didn't miss it. I forgot. Kerry, you want to facilitate?
Why she keeps me around right there.
Please.
That's it.
Yeah, Kerry, go for it.
Oh, no. We'll start with Amy. Amy, you know what? You guys just say where you're from. Amy, Linda, Laurie. Listen, Linda, your name is Laurie.
My mom's name's Linda.
The other one.
All right. Go ahead.
I know. Start, yeah.
What you got, Amy?
Yeah, so I am Amy Druhot. I am the VP of Sales for Eastwood Homes in Richmond, Virginia. And I am excited to be here today. I love Builder Town Hall and I'm a huge fan. So it's great to actually be here on the other side of the camera. So I'm just appreciative to be here and I'm excited to answer any questions that you all have. So don't hold back. Give us the hard stuff. We're excited.
Good one, Amy.
And before Laurie and Qadra jump in, we do have to acknowledge, applaud, and be excited for Amy. She is an author. Are you a first-time author?
First time, yes, first-time author.
She is a first-time author. Her book is just over her shoulder. Yep. Just brave it. Angela has shared the link in chat to Amazon. It is a wonderful book. I have mine right here in my back on my shelf. You'll love it. It's full of awesome stories of courage and bravery and how to foster that within yourself. And we highly recommend. And we congratulate you on the book. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Okay, Laurie, take it away.
Yeah, sure. My name is Laurie Evans, and I work for the Jim Allen Group in Raleigh, primarily focused on new construction and then builder representation. And you can give Amy
Awesome.
and Qadra all the hard questions.
No, we are not doing that. She is not telling the whole story. I have to jump in on this one as well. Let me just tell you something. When Laurie Evans speaks on Facebook about anything new home sales related in the Raleigh market, people listen. They all comment, they share her post. It's all like, oh, Laurie said this. Oh, Laurie said that. Oh, Laurie's team's doing this. I mean, it is reverence for her. No, really, I'm not kidding. You all should know this. It is reverence for her work ethic, for her knowledge, for what she pours into her work that's far above what anybody, I think, expects you to do. So she's not really telling the whole story. Okay, Qadra, take it away.
Yes, I'm Qadra Evans, Director of Industry Relations and Sales for Zillow New Construction. I'm a rookie to Builder Town Hall, so thanks for having me. And I agree, just give Amy the hard questions.
I take it back. I take it back. Don't give me hard questions.
No. Yeah, no. Qadra, we're thrilled to have you. Obviously, we recognize the giant that Zillow plays in marketing new homes. And I read, any article you all put out, any stats you put out, all the resources you provide. It's always awesome information. So we're really happy to have you here and representing that piece of knowledge for the group. So, and we're looking forward to getting to know you better.
Likewise.
Yeah. So Amy, we'll start out with you. One of the things that you and I had talked about in the pre-show was just getting future-proofing your team and how your team works in this current environment. We've got top team members, we've got backlogs, how are we handling that these days, with them maybe just wanting to actually go to work for some place that they love and being willing to even say, the backlog's not that as important to me as working for some place that I'm a great fit and they're a great fit for me. So
Right.
Talk to us about future-proofing your sales team. While the rest of you type in your questions, please.
So I think future-proofing your team, it's something that I don't think we put enough thought into. What I think that we take advantage of as leaders in our industry is that, and what really lends to us at times is the fact that I think that we as individuals often don't leave companies or cultures that are no longer a good fit for us because we are overvaluing stability. That it's, and when we overvalue stability, that is typically, it's not necessarily fear, it's that we're overvaluing something that is no longer good for us, but it might be the paycheck or it might be the backlog or whatever those things may be. But ultimately, if the culture is not good, your team will not stay. You're going to lose them at some point in time, whether you lose them physically as they walk out the door or you lose them while they sit in a seat in your models or in your office selling and representing your brand. Either way, it's not good. So I always look at, been very fortunate that the last handful of individuals that I have hired have been top individuals in our market who I did not recruit. They actually came to me. And I think that what is important is that we should do away with the word recruit and we should start focusing on the word relationship. Because if you begin to build relationships early before you ever need someone for your team, I cheer on, and I'm about to tell my secret. So anyone in my market who potentially is either on or who is watching this is where you should not pay attention to what I'm saying. But I will tend to cheer on other individuals on other teams. So if I see a sales individual that works for one of my competitors who is knocking it out of the park, or I see something that they're doing that is out of the norm, or I see that their numbers are phenomenal, I don't go to them to recruit them. I have a full roster of a team who I love dearly, but I want to cheer them on. I want to encourage them in their role as someone who is, even if they're selling against me, someone who is in our industry doing incredible things. So I build relationships with people on a regular basis. that's not a way of me going and sitting down and recruiting, but it does say a lot about the culture that exists, because if I'm cheering you on when you are selling for someone else, imagine the cheering on that I will do for you if you are selling for me. And I think my team knows that. I've had very little turnover in the 6 years I've been here. I had two people retire, one of which I had stay on for a whole year past what he wanted to retire. And I had one person who actually left to move for her family. So outside of that, my core team has been my team.
Oh, that's a
and I have
statistic.
added, and that is a very rare
That's
thing
amazing.
in our industry.
Yeah.
So, and I think that it comes down to, at the end of the day, it's the culture. It's not one size fits all. Each individual gets a catered, specific to them, managing, coaching relationship with me. And I think that when you think about your team, especially with the up and down that we see in our industry, the last 4 years have been anything but predictable. It is so important that your team can rely on you, and that they know that when things are like this, you're like this, and you're going to be that sounding board. You're going to be that support. They know what to expect from you. They know that you're going to have their back. You're in their corner, and you want to create a culture that not only your team wants to stay, but that the top performers in your market will walk away from a backlog because they want to work for you. And I think if you can create that's where the magic happens.
Mhm.
You know, Amy, that resonates with, me with builders all over, right? But one of the things that you alluded to, but I think what you're saying you need is kind of this world we've got of quiet quitters who they kind of stay there, but they've kind of quit, and how they hurt you. But I think that if you have self-awareness of your team, you are noticing someone quietly quit, and you can help that, because there are times that what they're thinking about why they need to take their excellence elsewhere is fixable. And so you hit 2 points. Strong sales management develops a strong team from self-awareness.
Yeah. And you have to care. I mean, you have to truly care about the individuals, because I do believe that when people go silent, that speaks louder than anything.
Anything.
And if you're not in their model on Monday or on a Saturday, if that's what it takes to be there saying, hey, what's going on with you? You're not being a good steward to your team, and you're not being a good steward to your company. And
managers, did you hear Amy say in their models?
Yes.
Please, did you hear her say, not behind your computer, not on your phone, in their models?
In relationship communication, coaching, training, we talk about quiet quitting. The way we kind of put that is people retreat into their cave and put their walls up, and then they don't want to come out, and they won't engage with you. And that's if they feel like you don't have their back, or they're scared to talk to you, or they can't be open. They just retreat in there, wall goes up. Meanwhile, it's not really helping anybody.
I think it's really easy to just see the person that shows up to work every day and forget that we all have lives outside of work, and there's a lot going on and there's a lot of noise. And so the more in tune and open you can be to receiving that feedback from your people, the better, because a lot of times it's not starting from the work environment. It starts from maybe something else too.
100%.
And we have no idea what they had to deal with that morning, right?
Yeah.
7
Really?
The psychiatry of figuring it out before they figure it out. And that's what a really good sales manager actually does, is they figure it out before the salesperson really has figured out, you're right, okay, kind of thing. So it's a gift. I love it.
Yeah. Amy, Cindy has a question. How often do you provide training for your team?
So
And what does that look like?
this is a hot button for me just because I am the training liaison for our company. We work with a consultant, and then so I feel very responsible for our training program. And I will say, I do feel like an expert, not because I'm great at it or that I'm consistent all the time, right? Like we all have, I would rather be transparent and say, look, I'm not perfect either. You know, we have times where we are very focused on our training. There are times where during a spring market, it feels like so many other things take a priority. But I believe with training that consistency is what is key. And you have to hold yourself accountable in the same sense that training holds our teams accountable. You as a leader have to hold yourself accountable to sticking to that consistency. So training for me has multiple different layers. I think there is the large scale training where you have your onboarding or you have your training that you use and utilize for your teams within their sales environment. But then there's the one-on-one coaching. And I feel for me, I mean, and it can vary. It's based off your team's needs. Like I say, it's not a one size fits all when it comes to your team's needs, but the coaching to me is the most important. And that is the one-on-one, face-to-face, like Kerry said, in your model. Or I like to remove my team from their model and take them someplace else and sit down with them for coaching, because I think that it takes them out of their normal environment and it creates a fresh environment to actually have conversations. And what I say with the training is, the more you can know your team, the closer that you can get to understanding, like Qadra said, like you don't know what else they're dealing with. So I had a coaching session recently with one of my employees who he is a great salesperson, and I couldn't tap into the difference between the good and the great, right? Like I knew it was there, but I couldn't figure out where to coach him from. And so I took him out of his environment, took him to lunch, and really had a one-on-one session of just coaching and engaging. And he shared with me a story that he was so excited about where he was, that he loved what he was doing for a living. He loved working for Eastwood, loved working for me. He's building a home with us now, which is so exciting. But the reason that it meant so much to him was that 10 years ago, he was homeless. He was living in his truck. I didn't know that. And the moment that he said it, I was like, I mean, I got chills. I'm like, this man can do anything. Like, there is no reason that he shouldn't be number one every month. And I'm like, look at what you have overcome. Look at what you have accomplished. And as soon as he shared that with me, I was like, he's going to be number one this year, because I know he has what it takes. And anytime he's not living up to that expectation of his own excellence, I'm going to hold him accountable to that and say, I'm going to remind you of who you are. I'm going to remind you of what you've been able to do. And that's where we're going to coach from this point forward. So I do think that the training as a whole is really important, but even more so that one-on-one coaching of, yes, role playing is great, and walking through scenarios and taking them through each situation as it comes up is really, really key. But the foundation behind it, the way that you get people to receive the information that you are trying to teach them, is by investing first in who the person is, so that you can cater to their needs and to their the way that they should be coached. So that's what I would say. If you know, training is important, consistency is key, but you got to do the work first to understand the person that you're coaching before you ever start to try to lead them towards developing themselves. Once you build the trust, it's great from there.
I love that. So let's flip over and change tracks a little bit. Let's talk a little marketing and sales too. Laurie and Qadra both have expertise in making your listing stand out. Laurie, you know, your expertise in making it stand out in MLS, and we're talking new construction, right? On your side, and then of course Qadra making a listing stand out in Zillow. I know those are two hot buttons that I get asked a lot myself as a consultant, just as, you know, home builder marketing consultant. So tell us what to tell people, and tell us Tell the audience those secrets as well. Laurie, why don't you kick off?
Sure. So, I like to kind of look at things from two different angles because I think from a sales perspective, we're kind of targeting two different groups, right? We're targeting agents when they're doing their MLS searches to show buyers, and then we're targeting buyers online to get them into our homes. So how we do things is super targeted and directed according to who we're marketing towards. Um, and I can speak a lot to this because I do general brokerage as well. So I am an agent on the other side, sometimes trying to do the searches for buyers. And I know what's frustrating to me and what may eliminate me actually showing some homes. So I just wanted to kind of talk on that.
Yeah.
So most agents, especially now as there's more inventory, they're looking for reasons not to show homes, right? They're not looking when they've got a client and there's 50 homes that meet their searches and all different stages of construction. They're looking for reasons to eliminate them. So we're so used to just kind of getting caught up on how we always do things that it's hard to just take a step back and say, okay, when I'm, just kind of looking at this from the outside, trying to find this house. So, of course, we know we really don't care who sells a home as long as it gets sold. So our biggest thing for MLS, who our target is the agent searching. So what we want to do, nothing's more frustrating than putting in a search into MLS and having to try and look at floor plans because the person that put the listing in doesn't say what room or what floors rooms are on. Master bedroom obviously is a huge, primary suite's a huge feature on which floor that's in for a search. Room sizes, all the different features that when we are quick to just input something in, we leave out, and we don't know what a hot button is for a client. So anytime we leave things out because we're just quickly trying to get a listing in, the less likely it's going to be for somebody that's doing a real targeted search to find us. And like making sure that our listings are mapped correctly, especially now, ever since a few years ago when they took out the areas from MLS. Now all the agents are relying solely on mapping if somebody wants to be a certain distance from something. And with new construction, we can map it once and then it get kicked back for whatever reason the next day. So it's just, one thing we do is try and set up a weekly target, on Wednesdays so that it's ready for the weekend to make sure everything's still mapping like it should, because just it not being mapped correctly could completely kick a listing out from being found in a search. Remarks, utilize those as much as possible, as far as making sure every single detail that we can put in is in there so agents know. I mean, all agents want to be the hero of their clients, right? And I know we fight against that a lot, being the hero, but the more information we can give them, where they feel comfortable selling your product and know what they're selling so they can be the hero in their eyes, the better. Keeping pictures updated. Again, if a house just has a rendering in the front of a listing, we just scoot right on by that because we think the home hasn't been started. And it's gotten so bad that I literally have finished homes in the computer that agents are asking me, hey, has this house started yet? Because us as a whole have been so bad with keeping pictures updated or putting model pictures in MLS that they don't trust when they actually see a completed inventory home that it's actually completed. They think that maybe it hasn't even started yet.
That's really, really true, Laurie, that, and I think one of the things that you're talking about, and Qadra can for sure confirm and add, is that taking the time when you input a listing and then refreshing and reviewing. I mean, if there was ever a market that you need to refresh and review, it's this one, right?
Yeah, it's not a one and done.
Qadra, help us with, because we know, and Laurie spoke to it, that they get on Zillow and then all of a sudden it's like, what's next?
Yeah, it's like dog eat dog out there. So I mean, I'll just double down on everything you just said, Laurie. Content is key. Zillow is fed, we're powered by MLS feeds. So what you put in the MLS is what shows up on Zillow, and then we augment it with builder feeds, and we add all the extra zhuzh and the sparkle that builders have. But it all starts with the MLS. So when we're only as good as the data that we're getting. So if you're not using those remarks or putting in lots of great photos with high resolution, and you just have pictures of dirt or half constructed homes, guess what? You're competing against resale. You're competing for those same eyeballs of those, hundreds of millions of viewers that are on Zillow every day. But then I can't even stress it enough, because you would think that everybody would be using this awesome technology, but they're not. It's a trend that really started during the pandemic and has only kind of grown in interest. And so you have to have 3D tours on your listings. You have to have interactive floor plans on your listings. You have to have virtual staging on your listings, because this is what has always been the detriment to new constructions. We haven't had a way to make buyers feel comfortable with something that might not be built yet. But now we have a way, so use it. And the data is there. We've got 68% more views on listings that have 3D homes, 36% more saves than listings that don't have them. And you're also kind of pre-qualifying your buyers by having them look at all this stuff. And so by the time they reach you, they've already vetted what properties are going to work and what is not, because they've been able to see a floor plan and walk through the house virtually before they have to waste their time on something that might not work.
Yeah.
Qadra, with what you said on that, it's huge, because I actually had some buyers that were coming from out of country recently. And, when you're out of state or out of country, coming in every single time a home pops up that might meet their criteria is not possible. So they actually refused to see any homes or to schedule any homes that did not have a 3D, like a Matterport or whatever walkthrough tour in MLS, because they wanted to be able to place their furniture and make sure the house itself worked prior to scheduling that appointment to come in.
Wow.
And so much so that as a buyer's agent, I actually had a few homes that I had to go in and pay for those Matterports, because I wanted to make sure that they did not miss out. Now, they were fine with missing out, but I'm trying to sell a house, so I didn't want them to miss out on something that I knew would work for them. So I had to pay to do that. So what you said, I mean, that's absolutely huge with targeting buyers online.
Yeah.
Huge.
Meredith, what we're finding, because one of the things that you and Angela and I do is you guest specialist in what you do, is that here's a commonality. It doesn't matter if it's sales, because Laurie talked about it, or marketing. Zillow talked about it. Laurie talked about it, is trust. That your agent needs to
love that.
you,
Yeah.
and that the buyer wants to trust the listing. And
Yep.
Zillow says that I don't want to see it. So it's funny how broad the term trust is, but at the end of the day, the difference maker in what we do, and as we talk about future proofing today, that's what I thought is the difference maker that everybody does in their fields, and trust is so broad.
Well, the trust, whether it starts out online or it happens when they talk to you in person, the trust is what fosters a relationship.
Yep.
And we know that we need to build relationships in person, but I think we all still forget that the digital aspect of the search and the elimination and the exploration of finding what we're looking for and that narrowing down, that is a trust building exercise, and that is a relationship building exercise. I was talking to a company this week that really let me down on a very high priced product. And I said to them, I have been one of your biggest fans. I love your company, and I don't hardly even know you, but you're breaking my heart. And every time I see your commercial and every time I see your product, I am now going to have anger towards you. Like, is that what you really want? Like, think about how this is all going down, So even though builders, you don't feel the relationship yet on your side, a relationship's being formed.
Yes.
Or being eliminated completely
I would
from
say
happening.
Yeah, even as big as Zillow is, and you think we're just this big brand, big consumer brand, but everything that we do is to create that trust with the customer. And so the data that we're giving them and the content that we're giving them, that's why we go out and preach, like, please put this stuff on your listings because buyers want to see it, and that makes them trust us. And then they trust you by way of Zillow.
Yeah. I have a question, and then we're going to get to a couple that have come up in chat. Let me ask one real quick that I get asked all the time about builder website. So a lot of times, the builder's website inventory will feed to MLS, or we'll pull MLS in on the website, and then we'll feed to Zillow. So like we feed, right? So the website has got to have all this information that you all are talking about, because otherwise it doesn't work. So I'm asked all the time, well, because I tell them the rendering for an under construction home is not going to cut it. They don't know that you're building it. So but then I'm asked, but at what point should I put up pictures because too much dirt, and if it looks grubby, and then when do I take pictures, swap out for rendering? Do either of you want to comment on that? Because I literally am asked that weekly, and I have an answer, but it might not be the right one. So
if I could speak to that. So my biggest thing is that from a search, we have 5 pictures, okay? And if you think about it, how many times when you're looking at houses, how many pictures does it take for you to decide whether you want to see that house or not, right? And I think it's about 5. And so to me, it's not even necessarily like some people just go in, like walking in from the house and like the dining room. So great. You've got the dining room, the most unused room possible, as your second picture in MLS that's not going to sell a house. So I think this.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for the love of God.
We get so caught up on like doing it the same way every single time, and we're out of that. That's not okay anymore. What we have to do is know our product, know what we're selling, and say, okay, for this specific house, what is going to sell it? Is it the amazing island in the kitchen? Is it the community, right? And again, this kind of goes back to the days of agents being able to be specialized in a specific area and nobody relocating here. And so everybody knows what they're looking at. That's not the case anymore. So everything we're doing is super specific to that house. So the answer to that is, I think it depends. I think that it's very important to show that the stage of the home. I don't think it's really such a big deal to put things in so early anymore, especially if you're not letting people make selections. Maybe do one like that. I think it's more important that, again, you're looking at it as a community and saying, okay, what's going to bring the buyers in the door, and what's to have them here, and I can find out what it is that they're looking for, and then sell them on the emotion or the community or whatever, not just, hey, let me just stick absolutely everything in the MLS. Because guys, what we're really fighting against right now is that there's no sense of urgency whatsoever. And the reason there's not is we came from a market where nobody was doing pre-sales. Nobody was listing their homes until the homes were 100% finished, to a market where everybody's listing dummy specs in the computer that haven't even started. Now everybody will do pre-sales. Now everybody has finished homes that they're listing. So all of those dummy specs that we're sticking in the computer make people think that there's so much inventory that now nobody has to make a decision, because there's no sense of urgency, because they know that if they miss that opportunity, that that builder has 15 homes that are available, they're going to reduce the prices in a couple weeks. There's no sense of urgency whatsoever. So let's help everybody as a market, and let's just really focus on not being lazy with just sticking everything in and hope that somebody shows up. Let's just look at individual homes.
That's so awesome. And you know what, Laurie? Like, if I could hug you, I would hug you.
I think we would all like kiss your face right now. We could grab your teeth.
I did it. Yes, I did a training yesterday. Just yesterday. And the homework assignment from the builder to me was, I need my sales team to sell all these designer homes that they have. That we call with that company inventory spec designer, because people don't really want to buy anything on speculation. And a designer did the selection, so it is a designer home, right? So how do we do that? And I said, every single one of them are different. Give them a persona.
Yep.
But what you have to do is go walk it. Don't know that that floor plan is this and then list it. Go walk it and give it a personality, and then decide. And all these people are like looking at me like, now we got to go walk all these. I said, yes. And as they change, walk them again and decide. Like, you got it. You're right. Open the front door of your designer homes, go in, who's going to move in here, and make sure that you're verifying that on your listings and making it attractive. Give it a persona.
Nothing kills me more than pulling up a house or neighborhood search just to maybe pick 1 or 2 houses to show my client, and there's 6 or 7 of the exact same elevation rendering for the neighborhood. It's confusing. Why?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's
Just sitting there like
Qadra,
this.
let's get Qadra in here on this. Yeah. And then we're going to move. I know Ann just got a couple from chat to
Okay.
pull in. Okay.
Go, Qadra.
Yeah, so we get tons of feedback, just, oh, 3D homes, that's expensive. It's time consuming. It's out of our normal day to day. We've always done it one way. Why change? But then I think of how much money builders are spending on sales teams and models and marketing content and websites and buying leads. And I'm like, why wouldn't you invest and put your best foot forward? Because you have one shot and you are competing with resale listings that have all this stuff. And so you've got to find a way to win those eyeballs, because a lot of people think resale is the only way to go. So if you can start winning eyeballs by making everything really grand and attracting that attention, that's how you take the win.
Yes.
I think also I would say to that we often as builders, we they don't want to spend the money, right? Like Qadra said, like they tend to not, but take a look at your carrying cost for one home for 1 month. That in itself, if you can utilize a tool that will sell your home, I would say 1 month, but it could be 2, 3, 4 months, 6 months earlier than what you could have before. It's well worth the investment. And so I think you have to really think about your ROI as it relates to the tools that are available to us today. And the reality is too, you don't want to be the only builder in your market not utilizing those tools. I'm very fortunate that I have like an incredible marketing team that is on top of the most current things or what's coming next. And so their whole job is focused on what is the next that we need to bring to our company. And you may not have that if you're a smaller builder, but it is really important that if you don't have a team that is doing that for you consistently on a weekly basis, then you need to be looking at what your competitors are doing. You need to be in Zillow, you need to be in MLS, you need to look at their listings and see what they are doing that is drawing buyers to them so that you can do the same things and remain competitive. And in the long run, it will save you money because you will sell houses faster.
I love that. So a digital competition shop.
Yes.
Not just, not just we do our physical in-person, supposedly competition analysis, which you all need to be doing. Angela and I were just talking about this being competitive pricing and, sales agents not routinely enough doing their competition analysis because then you would know where you're at. But digital competition shop. Interesting idea. Yeah. Okay, Ange, questions from chat.
Yeah, Steve had a question about home builders continuing to add technology. So AI, automation, website interaction. Do you have open, and so Amy, I think you could probably start with you. Do you have open discussions with your sales and marketing teams to embrace technology that could eliminate or change their positions?
This has actually come up, especially more recently. And the reality is at the end of the day, I believe our industry, and I say my job 100%, what we do for a living, I do not sell homes. I am in the people business. That is what we do. And I think that the day that we all move completely away from the personal connections that we all have and that buyer experience that we provide, that that would be a really sad day. So I don't think anyone should feel completely, and I can't speak for every company, that I know that my company, that we really, really care about the buyer experience. And that's that one-on-one relationship that's built from day one until even past closing. I mean, we care as much about the warranty process as we do about the, the day that they walk in the model. But I do believe that what I hope is that we're able to expand upon that experience, that we can provide an even deeper, richer experience where we are providing tools upfront. When we talk about that process of elimination, let's make it easier, right, for buyers to find the home that works for them. So I think that we will be able to grow and expand based off of these tools. I don't know I don't know that we as an industry should remove that personal human to human contact, touch, guiding you through that process.
Irreplaceable human.
Right. I mean, you can't,
Right.
I think that the technology sometimes can be too perfect, and I think we don't want to remove that human aspect and that feeling and the empathy and the excitement that we get to share when we help someone find their dream home. So that you cannot replace with a machine. You cannot replace with any sort of technology. So I don't believe that that should go away. I don't believe that sales individuals should feel threatened by technology replacing them. I think that they should embrace it as a tool in a way that they can just enhance the experience.
Yes, be empowered by it. And the shortest answer that I always give people is great technology automates mundane tasks that free you up to do more people, with people, be with people, talk to people, do more people-y things.
Yeah.
That's what great technology does. And if your technology isn't doing that, then it's not a great one. Try something different.
Yeah.
And
I always like to find keywords, and then I'm going to let you do that. But a key word that Amy said is richen the experience. If you find a tool that richens your experience, because everyone's is different. Every company and every builder delivers one, but that's a key word, Amy, that you use, that richen your experience. And you've got one.
well, I was just going to say that also, a technology can help the process, but a good salesperson, good marketer, is going to utilize those tools too. And so that's the key. I mean, when we talk about future-proofing sales and marketing, you've got to future-proof yourself. And that means also utilizing what can you do to progress. The Canadian in me is coming out, but to move forward, right? And that's learning, and it's not being, it's not denying that things are changing. This market is not easy right now. There's nobody, people who are sort of, saying it's easy are maybe not completely telling the truth, because it's hard. You've got to work harder to get the things that maybe came easier, more easily 4 or 5 years ago. And so we got to make that effort to jump in, lean in, and learn about AI. There's nobody that's an expert out there right now, even if they say they're an expert, because it's too new. It's still, and it is changing. And so you've got, look at ways that you can utilize it, look at ways that you can learn, and take that initiative. Don't wait for people to hand it to you. You've got to take that initiative.
And the tool
I love that
is what every one of you are speaking to the fact, to the tools that we have. When we talk about future proofing today, what it is how are you utilizing Ansel's word, the tools? Like a hammer doesn't build a home, but a hammer is part of building a home, right? So our tools have expanded in the sales and marketing world. and we need to expand with them and make sure that we're not dinosaurs, because you can get caught by saying, me, the people person that, oh my God, that scares the living crap out of me to learn that. However, what should scare me more is not learning it.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That at Zillow, we work with agents and builders and kind of the whole gamut, and we call it being a tech-enabled salesperson, because no consumer has told us, I want a completely automated transaction.
Yeah.
They want to be given all these tools so that they can do things on their own. And when they're ready to move forward, they want a human being. And because of that relationship piece is irreplaceable, and it always will be. And so I think it's important to remember that it's more of a hybrid experience that we talk about, where it's give them the tools and they will raise their hand when they're ready for somebody to come in and help them.
How many of us have actually worked with a company or purchased something from a company and then had an issue and needed to call someone, and you cannot get in touch with anyone? I'm like,
Press one, press two.
I'm like, I sent emails. There's no, I'm searching, and I'm a great Googler. I'm like, if y'all need something, y'all need to know something.
Oh
about
yeah.
somebody, call me.
Yes.
And you
yes.
can't find a phone number. You can't find, and then when you do find, I mean, it's so frustrating. All I want is a human being, right? Because it's being human that helps us to problem solve. And when there is an issue, I don't want a machine. I want someone who can understand the specific issue that I'm having and respond appropriately. And there's nothing more frustrating. So I think that human aspect, again, we want to utilize the tools to enrich the buyer experience and lean into those things and continue to learn and to grow as an industry and evolve. But I think that human aspect, I mean, again, there's nothing more frustrating to me when I'm trying to solve an issue or I'm frustrated or need help with something and I cannot get a human being. So
in a voice. We get so delighted, really sheer joy in, oh my God, it's a voice.
Right.
Like people on the other end sometimes at how exuberant I get must go, oh, I want what she's having, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's you, the voice. And I'm like, because I've A to Z 25 times. But
yes, and you're the lucky winner. No, Kerry, actually, I want to pivot just a second. I'm going to let our panelists chat or we got to figure out our winners for our questions.
Sure.
And while they're kind of working on that, I'm going to I want you to talk about incentives and promotions. You're seeing a lot of that out there. I know you're consulting on a lot of it. It's a very hot topic. Kind of everybody has a version of one. So just kind of share what you think that customers or builders are using the most, or what's working.
Okay.
How about it?
I really, everyone's trying to get the secret sauce to the incentive that's going to work. And everybody, it's like, is it interest rate? And as soon as we see a sign in a yard, my call last week was 4.99 sign just went up in a yard. We need to combat that, Kerry. What should we do? And, I say that we need to take a really deep breath and decide that, first of all, whatever it is that you decide would be a good tipping point for your customer, because everybody doesn't have, we hear buyers, but everybody doesn't have the same pool, right? Is the presentation of it. Like, number one is when they walk in the door, and I want you to know that we're offering 5% right now. 5% of what? What if they don't like it? If you cannot first emotionally connect the person that you're talking to the home that you're selling, I don't care what your incentive is. It doesn't matter. So you need to make sure that the first thing you do with whatever the incentive is that your sales team knows how and when to appropriately put it out there, because it doesn't mean anything until it really matters. And the other thing is, you don't necessarily need to go head to head with what the guy down the street is doing. Be different. We talked about the other day that there's, in this world right now, there's order takers, there's sales takers, and there's sales makers and there's difference makers. Every company has something different. So find out what will best sell your home, and don't chase the traffic of what other people are doing, but foremost, learn how to present it and make it consumer speak friendly. Like when I asked somebody the other day, I was doing a coaching session, and I'm going to go really quick on this, but if you take a $500,000 home and it's at 7%, and then this is what their buying power is, and this is what their payment is, and now you add whatever your incentive is, and this is what consumers might think they know 7%. Oh my God, it's so high. They don't even know. Break it down and make it consumer understandable and friendly. That's
Yeah. Qadra, you just put a great point in chat. I'll let you kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, I think I put it to just you guys on the panel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
I'm like,
but it's true.
But no, we just, a lot of times buyers just don't understand what buying down an interest rate means to them, and explaining how beneficial that can be affecting their monthly bottom line is something that I think we all just have to get better at it, because when you're talking to them in mortgage speak or builder speak, they just can't quite put those things together, and they don't actually understand what a huge benefit that is.
Right. If our theory is that when we're doing whatever it is that we're doing incentive wise, right, is that you can afford more and pay less, right? Is that the theory behind it? With us, you can afford more and pay less. Okay. What is the more? What is the less? And the person help the consumer understand the more and the less, they have a buyer.
Well, and I think at the end of the day too, none of the incentive doesn't matter. None of that matters if it's not the right home.
Right. Home.
Right. And I'm like, if I was getting married and I went dress shopping and I saw the perfect dress, I knew exactly what I wanted, exactly the feel that I wanted, and it was within my budget. But then you said, but here's this dress and it's free. I'm not taking the free dress, girl. I want the dress that I want. And so why are we so focused on the things that we get for free or the discount? Every time a sales agent say to me, they came in and they're comparing us to this builder. They love our home. They want our home. This is the house they want. They want us to build their home, but this builder's offering X. And I'm like, why are we having this conversation? Do they want their home or do they want our home? Because at the end of the day, none of it matters if it's not the right house.
Yes.
So let's get to a place where do we know that this is the right house? Let's not negotiate against ourselves. If this is the right home for you, if it is in your budget, if it meets the needs of your family, then none of this matters. None of this will matter a year from now when you're sitting in your living room having coffee by yourself and you look around and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is where I live. So we have to get past the incentives and past the gimmicks of what it is that we think sells a home, and really get focused on what the buyer actually needs.
Yes.
Before we announce our 3 question asking winners and we wrap up, just remember, we're not doing town hall in July, but we will see you back in August, and we have a great show planned. Laurie, I thought maybe you might want to round out this conversation on incentives and promotions from an agent's perspective, from searching MLS perspective, from where agents end up wanting to take people, how all that comes from your side of the business.
Absolutely. And I think Amy hit it. I mean, this is one of those things where in MLS, you cannot search on incentives. People still search based upon what price point they're looking to buy in. And they're still going to buy the absolute best thing that fits their criteria that's available. So again, the incentive doesn't matter. I think this all comes down to, and builders are so quick to throw out the incentives up front, but from an agent perspective, when you do that, no buyer's happy, because once you throw that incentive out up front, they look at that as paying full price. Okay. So some of you are spending $20,000, $30,000 on rate buy downs and all this kind of stuff. And it's wonderful and amazing, but it doesn't have value up front because you're giving it all the way up front. Hold those things, let's, again, like Amy said, figure out what it is that the buyer is looking for, what they need. And let's figure out a way, if maybe they can't quite afford that house that they really, really, really want. Let's say, hey, if I could tell you that you could afford that house today, will you move forward with the contract? And figure it out, and instead of just forcing incentives, because what that does is, number one, makes you look desperate. Number two, again, people don't understand what that means. They're going to still try and negotiate on you, and it's not showing your value, and you're not listening to what a buyer wants. So I think we just have to be better at, again, listening, knowing our competition, because if they might be offering that money because their prices were too expensive to start with. Anybody can raise a price $50,000 and give the rate buy down. I mean, come on.
Yes.
So it's just really, again, let's focus on how we can take that incentive. Somebody's paying cash, you throwing out all these incentives doesn't matter to them. And now they think they've been gypped because now you're not going to give them that money off the price of the house because they're not getting a loan. So let's figure out how we can target all those to be able to sell a buyer instead of trying to force somebody to buy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I love it. That's a perfect wrap up. I love it. And we've done value selling for years and years. As things have constricted, we've all gotten a little incentive happy. From the marketing perspective, especially from like the builder website, I don't mind a teaser, a short, small teaser of some kind of promotion or campaign that is a hook to get people in the door, that just simply kind of encourages people, hey, have a conversation with us. We have solutions for you. We can make this work. And so we've been really pushing that on people's websites, on builder websites, but completely agree with not giving the entire promotion away, or all that doesn't need to be done up front. That should be in the back pocket to negotiate. And basically, we're in a market where we scrap for every sale and we put the sale together one piece at a time with what works with them, with the trust and the relationship that we've built. And I think that works out great. Okay, Angela, I think you have an announcement to make.
I do. We have our winners. Thank you to everyone who asked questions and who participated today. But Steve Otto, Steve Jones, so the Steves, and Cindy Plackmeyer are our Amazon gift card winners today.
Yay! Yay!
We will reach out to you.
Yeah.
And Tara, I have to ask you if Millie won. I think
we'll see if she'll put it in chat.
Yeah. Now that I see her name.
Great.
Oh, she didn't. Oh, she should have. She's a winner in my eyes.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, go to Amazon, get Amy's book, Just Brave It. I'm a big thing, like we don't sell things here, but it's a terrific book, and she gave her time and talent today, and I just you'll love it. So Just Brave It by Amy, and you can get it on Amazon. And thank you to Laurie and Amy and Qadra and my fearless cohorts, Kerry and Angela. This was June Builder Town Hall, and we are out. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Go get them.
Yeah.
Go get them.